that's a triple play. New episodes, I couldn't wait. Yeah, open your mind at the first gate. Press play, no need to debate. AoA, check me out. Look, plugged in, you can catch the hype. Golden Dawn, how we follow the light. Anime like life.
Hello and welcome back to the AoA show. I'm your host as always, Ian, along with my boys Isaiah and Gavin.
What's going on?
And we are excited to announce to you guys a little bit of a change in the show. Not really anything huge, but we've decided to follow along with the show Tower of God. And that's what we will be talking about today. If you guys have been following us for a minute or have watched some of our previous episodes, you might know that we did our initial reactions and impressions on the show on only episodes 1 and 2. And coming off of the end of Demon Slayer, because the manga ended, we were like, okay, so what do we want to talk about as like one of our segments for the week or one of our episode styles for, weekly thing. And we were kind of searching around and kind of came to the conclusion that Tower of God slaps. And it's also just like really popular right now. It's kind of trending like week by week. It's generally top 10 on the anime rankings, every week if you through Twitter or whatever rankings that you use. And so we were like, why don't we just revisit this show? And after watching it, or catching up rather, at the time of recording, there are 7 episodes out. By the time this episode releases that we are recording, there might be 8. But the point is, we caught up. We realized that we're like, wow, we really like the show. So why don't we just talk about it weekly? So here we are. This will be us talking and recapping episodes 3 to 7. And then you could expect some weekly talks about the show, at least until the show is completed. So anyway, not initial, because now we kind of have an idea, but thoughts, I guess, on episodes like 3 through 7 or anything like any standout shit, that we, there are a lot of questions I feel that I have, kind of like learning more about Jihad and the princesses and kind of the use of the, what is it called, like Shizu or whatever, the thing that they can control. Almost every show has it, right? You got your Nen, you got your Chakra, you got your this, you got your that. But, and how Bam literally is like the essence of that. It's not that he could just control it. There's definitely some motives going on behind the scenes with some characters. I really like the dynamic between the instructors or like the test organizer people. The rankers. I think that they have a funny dynamic going on, and I'm pretty interested. I guess in what's her name? Akkad, or the green girl. Her story. After finding out that her past and thank you, Anak. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the show? What do you guys want to talk about? Because I mean, really, this is just going to be us kind of gushing over it, or not if you didn't like it. But I know I did. So what do you got?
I loved it.
Well said.
Oh man, yeah.
You were like, I loved it.
Finish, publish it. No, I think one of the things that struck me like the most often, I want to say, like while watching the show or getting caught up, is that I know that like the original like the webtoon that this is based off of, I don't know the exact number, but I believe it's something in the neighborhood of like 400 chapters or something. So like there's a story, and there's a very long stretched out story here to tell. And what I like from that going to this anime is the immediate amount of seeds that are already planted to like get you thinking of like, oh, who is that? Why is he doing this? What is it? Like this show very clearly has like lore and has a very complete and fleshed out world, like that you as the viewer are being taken through and meant to explore. And I think it just does really well with all of these like perfect setups between characters and like the dynamic, everybody's dynamic of the world, and like who wants what, and like essentially why everybody is at this tower, right? Because even from where we're at right now, which is episode 8, everybody, for the most part, everybody in like the main cast, right? Your main core, like I think it was 11 or 12 of them, or at the very least feel like you understand why everybody is here, right? And what everybody is trying to get from climbing this tower. But I feel like through the course of this season, or perhaps maybe even if it even carries over into the next season, a lot of these characters are either A, just plainly going to be killed off, or B, like their motivations for why they're here are going to have to shift, right? Because a lot of the characters, except for like the real like main core group, I feel, and I don't say this as a bad note, but are pretty one-noted as far as their motivations for being here, right? They either A, want to get to the top of the tower because they want whatever kind of power is, whatever power, whatever it is that's at the top of this tower, or it's kind of like a pride thing, which again, for right now, I think like for entry into this, is great because it lets you, it lets you learn about these characters, it lets you understand who they are, and right now they can kind of just do that. They can kind of just build these characters up and build up these interactions, and I think the show actually handles that really well too. Like the whole the episode where they're walking around like trying to like make friends, right, and everybody has like the list of people that they need to sign on their things. I think it does a really good job of like of doing this whole like, all right, we need this cast to interact and like be on sort of a plane of like friendliness and like quote unquote friends, but at the same time you do understand that like everybody is still competing to some degree, right? And like alliances seem, at least between some of the characters, like shifty at best, while others are like there's just a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's clearly a lot going on here, and there's clearly a lot of legwork and groundwork that's already been laid to this story, and I think like the pace that it's unfolding at least for me, was enjoyable as fuck. Like every episode I was like, after I finished every episode, I would like stop for 5 minutes and be like, all right, so Kun said this, but like he wasn't really so, but if he went back, like why would he? And I just like found myself like analyzing all the facts and stuff, and then I watched the next episode and I'm like, all right, fuck, I don't know anything again, hold on, and like it was cool.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Not only is that so true, but it's weird because something that I really like from the show isn't necessarily something that's going to happen in the show, and although that doesn't make sense inherently, let me explain a little bit, and that's with the fact, I really like the premise that they have going on with this show, in the fact of all these people are, kind of friendly together, but they're also competitors, like that's like the underlying like root to all of this, is that, they're all coming off seemingly as friends, and they are, for the most part, they're getting along, but at the end of the day, a ranker can just turn everything on its head and be like, okay, like it's a free-for-all, like deathmatch, till one person standing. Like realistically, that can happen in this show, and there's really like nobody that can dictate it. It's all up to the rankers. And for me, that's what kind of builds the suspense in the show. And it was kind of, I shouldn't say foreshadowed because we don't know, but there was a very minor thing that happened, and I don't remember what episode. I think it was in the latter like half of like 5 or 4, and it was two non-main characters. The one, do you guys know the guy who kind of looks like a devil? He has like the horn, and he looks almost like a demon.
Yes.
Yeah, the long blonde hair.
Yeah, it's like Laurel or something.
It was an interaction between him and then another like cast aside chick who wore like a gray like t-shirt. She was one who like struggled in the initial exam.
I know exactly.
You know what I'm talking about? And she was pretty much like, pretty much like, hey, I don't know if I want to climb the tower anymore. Like, I initially wanted to because I had like nothing like else fulfilling my life. I was just a thief, or a burglar that just broke into places. All my friends died, yada yada, like not yada yada yada, but I'm not gonna break everything down. But she's pretty much like, I had nothing going into this world. I just started killing people and climbing the tower, and that was kind of giving me something to do in my like free time. But now that like I'm genuinely feeling like I'm making friends, I don't want to have to kill them. Like I don't want to go through this. And then I already forgot his name, but the demon guy, who you thought they were kind of friendly with each other, he pretty much just like looks at her and he's like, yeah, nah, I'm not going to see you any different from how I always have, which is pretty much a competitor, which is like the paraphrase version of, you're on your own, bitch. Like we may be friends, but I'd put you in the dirt, like to get the leg up on you.
Or there's a scene where I agree. There's a scene with, in the latest episode with Kun, like his whole strategy, the way it breaks down, where you figure out that like, again, it sort of reiterates what you were saying, where it's like at no point is anybody, I believe, like truly not willing, I guess, to cross a line to have their agenda come out on top, right? And whether that agenda aligns with, one other person in the group or 5 or whoever, it's like there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of seemingly deep layers to this, and you see it in the characters and the way everybody interacts. And I would argue to say that the I guess, what is he, like the head guy, the head administrator, the blonde haired dude, is like really the only one. But I was gonna say is really the only one who has sort of all the cards and knows what's going on. But I would even argue that there's probably a degree of separation between like him and like the heating guy, the white dude. Because that's just it. There's so much mystery where it's like you don't ever really know who is what anybody's actual agenda, except for Bam. He just wants Rachel. What anybody's agenda really is, and what it is that they're after in this, in the tower, which I think is cool.
Yeah, it's so different because like I genuinely feel like anything can happen. Although I don't feel like they'd take a darker turn with this show because it's kind of just like the vibe I've gotten from it, Although I feel like it would be like super hardcore if they did, and honestly, I'd probably like it just as much. I don't know. I'm one of those people where I can appreciate when people turn shit on their head, and like really just make you want to just fucking fight someone. And like I feel like if they just did like a free for all like death match and like some really important people started dying, like this show would like go up like 8 notches in my mind. But regardless of it, I don't feel like they're gonna do that, and they don't have to because they still have a really banging story going on in the background where you don't know what's happening. Like literally what you just said. Like there's so many different angles and perspectives that you can't really flesh out, or they haven't given you enough information to really try to get like an opinion on it. But I don't know, dude. Even Bam doesn't know. He's just like, I don't know if Rachel is here, Well, I mean, obviously we know that she's there, but he's kind of like behind the curtains a little bit, but even he's like second guessing why he's doing all of this, and whether he's right or wrong and shouldn't. And that's like what I'm really waiting for, is to see what happens when like he gets more information on her and what she's going through and the decisions that she's making, and if that changes his ultimate goal, which is reaching the top of the tower, or if it kind of like switches midway through and like has like a change of heart or is trying to take shit down. Like, I don't know, because more or less like he is an irregular with a lot of power, and we know that something has happened in that tower's history to make irregulars very feared in a way, because they can't control their power. And if he's the essence of whatever power they're harnessing, well, you guys best be changing your underwear, because he's gonna shit all over you. Like, and it's like that in the background, and it's kind of like growing, and he is just getting culminated into all these different things, and you're just fucking, I'm on the edge of my seat like, yo, I'm ready for this kid to just pop off right now. Like him and fucking Kun, like, let's go get that briefcase out and just fuck people up. I don't know, man. I am so pumped though, and I can't wait till the fucking next episode. Like,
I have to say, can we talk about the fact that that Bam is like, there's Rachel, and then like basically saves her in the one thing, and then like the next episode, Rachel's like, just tell him my name's Michelle, and Kun's like, yeah, it's Michelle, and Bam's like, okay.
Yeah, so it's
like, what?
It's funny because like I feel like this dynamic, right, that we've got going on here, when I first saw it, immediately harkened back to like 9 other anime I've watched, right? This isn't really anything new where it's like character likes one character or like wants to protect or be with or whatever, then other characters like, no, our connection or attraction or whatever the fuck you want to call it is only going to be a burden. And it's like, all right, cut to 20 episodes later when she learns that that's actually her strength and not her weakness. I got you. But like what I'm confused with is the methodology in which everybody is going to like sell this lie, right? Where it's like, she's like, no, just tell them I'm Michelle. And it's like, Rachel, that's cute, but we all literally, including Bam, saw exactly who the fuck you are. Bam's not stupid. Neither is anybody else here. Like, we know you're...
Apparently
what?
Bam
we
is
know
stupid
you're Rachel.
if he's
Everybody
willing to
knows who
believe
you
that.
are.
But
I mean,
I guess, or unless this nigga got hit on the head that hard, but it's, well, because like there's literally moments after that episode where he's like, when he's talking to that one princess, and he's like, oh, is Rachel, I mean Michelle. So it's like he knows it and is at this point, I guess, just entertaining the thought. And it's like, why are we playing this weird game where everybody is pretending? Because literally the episode before that, everybody, again, due to that, like that sheet thing, I guess, right? Like they're like, oh, we got to make friends, like, so that we can, form a team. And it's like everybody is like, there's that scene where everybody's sitting at the lunch table and like they're all like pounding around and getting to know each other and whatever, and then Rachel is off, like she's just getting her one apple and like leaving, and the lunch guy's like, oh, an apple, like just an apple again, and it's like, part of me feels like, again, like I don't understand, and it hasn't been mentioned in the show. I don't understand what the point of it is. Like, what is it that she's, because it would be one thing if it was like everybody was kind of still sectioned off, right? And you had like, oh, everybody has to team up occasionally, but so-and-so doesn't like so-and-so, or so-and-so is secretly trying to kill so-and-so. But it's like literally everybody is kind of chill except for Rachel. So it just makes her stand out all the more to me. And I'm like, why? What is the goal here? What are you trying to like save yourself from? Or I don't know. It just struck me as like, okay,
there has to be something going on with her, because like I don't know. All she does is literally just sit depressed in her room eating candy bars.
There's the line. There's a line that again the princess has to Rachel when they're talking in the bathroom, and when she's commenting to her about Bam, and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, like he's really cute. He's a really good kid. I hope whatever you're looking for at the top of the tower is worth more than him."
Oh yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, yeah, is it Rachel? Because like I'm like, I don't know. Like Bam is literally one of the best niggas that you could have on your side, bro. He's like loyal to a literal fucking fault, and she's just like, nah, I can't. We can't be together. We can't do this. And it's like, really, Rachel? Why? Tell me why. Literally, tell me why. I literally
just picture you going up to her and you're just like, fucking Rachel, what the fuck? You being just start beating the shit out of her. And
yeah,
like,
I literally wanted to do that. Like when she was, in the Crown Game episode. When she's like standing in front and like she's like, don't worry, like everything's gonna be fine. And I'm like, Rachel, you have some fucking explaining to do, girl. Like what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, you're gonna say you're not Rachel, yet you're literally gonna put your whole team's ass on the line to protect them during a Crown Game for no apparent reason, because obviously you don't want anybody to know that you are Rachel, but it's pretty obvious if you're helping him. Like fucking, oh my god, I don't know. I'm about to like. Oh.
Can we also talk about how fucking hilarious the show can be? I don't know if it's just me and I just laugh at stupid shit.
Yeah.
But which is also true.
Good.
But
it's definitely stupid shit, but it's funny stupid shit.
Dude, just the dynamic between what's the alligator crocodile guy's name? Is it Rack, right?
Rack.
The dynamic between Coon and
Coon,
Rack,
Rack, and Bam. Yeah, that team is
the
just
funniest
fucking
shit in the world.
hilarious.
It's so funny.
Or I'm sorry, we should use their actual names: Gator, Blue Turtle, and Black Turtle.
Dude, oh my god, their
Dude,
dynamic is
so
just
much.
freaking hysterical. Like I found myself actually laughing out loud multiple times during the show when Rax says something and then Coon just like makes him look like an idiot for a second, and Rax just like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Dude, yo, wait. The best was when fucking Coon started using like his briefcase for other shit, and Rack looks over and he's like, wait, that's not a candy bar dispenser? Like he's like, oh, that's not an unlimited candy bar dispenser? And I was just like, bro.
Although I was wondering that for a while, and I'm glad that there was an actual canon explanation for that, because literally anytime this nigga would be like, yo, hit me, chocolate bars, this nigga would give him like 90. And I'm like, how do you have an indispensable amount of candy bars on you, my nigga?
And I also
when they said that, I was like, oh, okay.
Ever feels the need to buy food from the cafeteria, because apparently he can just make it out
Yeah,
of
for
his
real.
bag.
Well, no. You gotta copy
like a waste
it.
of
You gotta
points.
put shit in to get it out.
Yeah, that's
you know
fine. You just gotta buy one meal and then dump it in your briefcase.
Yeah. Let him buy like a fucking lasagna, dude, and have that shit in there. Every time he wants to pull out like his knife, he's just gonna get a fucking noodle. I don't know. That sounds disgusting. Like,
oh my gosh. God. Yeah, I guess there's more to it than we thought.
It's like
Although, can we talk about that Crown Game though? Because one of the other things that impressed me about the show was how much I liked the supporting cast, who going in I did not think I was going to vibe with as much as I did the main cast, but B, just as much as I ended up liking them. Like it was funny when they go into, I think it's like the first or second round, and like the way the whole thing is set up is essentially, the one team, whoever it is that's out there that has the crown, sitting in the middle, and then they just essentially throw teams, different groupings of teams at them to try and get the crown. There were some of those teams that were coming out to where I'm like looking at these character designs and I'm like, okay, you're fodder. You're literally you are here for this episode and this episode alone, and I'm never going to see you ever again. But it's like, nah, they're like here and they're like kind of part of the crew now, and like everybody is like, it was funny looking at it from like that episode all the way till the newest episode, where they're competing against the one ranker, and it's like all this, like in my mind I'm watching the episode and all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm like, these guys are still kicking. Like, I was like, oh, these guys are still here. And, like, everybody's vibing. And I was like, this is okay, but I'm fucking with it because everybody's like, I mean, and granted, amongst this group, the fodder are still the fodder, right? They're kind of playing the role of like the guys that are here, or but like, I genuinely, all the characters, if we're talking supporting characters, like the side characters, genuinely like I think all their personalities are really cool or funny, or like they, and they all clash really well with each other. Like one of my surprise favorites was the swordsman, who I initially thought, I was like, you see him the first, his first on-screen appearance, right, which is when he's fighting Anak in that like forest area way back in the first test, and I'm like, all right, this is the Sasuke nigga of the show, right? He's the one who's all aloof and standoffish, and he's got the long black hair, and he's off, and he doesn't like talking to people, but he actually kind of has a little bit of character, not leaps and bounds, granted, compared to like Bam, let's say, but he, like, there is a person there, and he has some like really funny and cool interactions with a lot of the the cast in later episodes. Oh, and I don't know his name, but the dude in the jumpsuit, fucking the man. He was another one who, like, anytime he had a scene, I was
so
like,
funny, dude.
Bro. Like, because
so funny.
He's literally like, if they were recruiting or whatever, picking people for this test, and like your random brother's friend got caught in the mix, like right before they grab people, and just he's the regular nigga that's amongst all these like swordsmen and giant gator people, and it's just hilarious watching him interact with anybody.
Dude, he's so funny. He's like the guy that you see at the gym with like the jumpsuit and fingerless gloves. You know what I mean? Like doing jumping jacks in the warm-up area, like something like that. He just cracks me up, dude. He is just like.
Yeah, the guy who's always telling you he just bench pressed 220, and like, but then you're like, you never actually see him do it.
Dude, he's so funny.
He's
and just
great.
Like how he tries to rein in Anak and the swordsman, like how he tries to get them to get along or whatever, and he's like, listen, if we do this, and like he's just trying to survive, man. Like that's really it. Like he's just trying to make friends with everyone.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Well, between him and the other girl, the one Gavin you were talking about before, with like the sort of plain shirt, who was like like sort of roped into this, like. Yeah, again, what I was saying earlier about like character motivations is there's a lot of people in the show or in this like group of people, right, who are trying to ascend the tower, who very clearly are here for like personal or specific reasons, right? Like we don't even know a lot about it, but we know that Rachel wants something at the top of this tower, right? It was a whole reason for leaving Bam to go up this tower. And then you have Kun, who I'm assuming is like trying to like get, trying to right the wrong, essentially, that like of his whole family heritage and all that. But then you have people like the guy in the jumpsuit and that girl who kind of just like are fucking here now, and they're like, fuck, man, I just gotta live. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, who are very clearly way in over their head to an extent. And like, now that they're sort of in this though, this deep, and they've lived, they're like, fuck, man, I just gotta stay alive. Like, I just gotta live. And it's like cool to see those different levels of motivations clash, because, then you have characters like Kun and the swordsman guy who, have their reasons for doing what they do, and like are only kind of willing to go certain, places and bend for certain people. But then you have like the guy in the jumpsuit and Bam who are like, nah, fuck it, let's just make friends. Like, nah, fuck it, we'll just do, like, you know what I mean? And it creates all these, like, I think the word I'm looking for is fun. It creates all these fun interactions that at the end of the day made every episode for me like just a fucking joy to watch.
Yeah, no, it was good. There are so many questions, definitely, for sure. But there's a lot of fun moments in between. I'm really curious. I want to see the giant dude that's on Rachel's team with the princess that Rack was clearly jealous of.
Oh,
at the one point, because he's just like, Rack's like, all right, we're going to throw this spear. And that guy just like yeets that spear and like immediately bullseyes that target from like 5,000 feet away. Rack is just like, I'm leaving. Like, he didn't even give it an attempt. He's like, I'm out. He's like, I'm going to the woods.
Yeah, and then
like,
what is it?
He
tells
like
Kun, he's like, I'm going to the wild to train.
He didn't even attempt to throw that spear, and he's like, I'm clearly outmatched here. And then when he does win, though, when they do pass the test, and Rack is just sitting there like all cocky as shit with the ribbon on him.
Then he's all fucking full of himself, dude. He's immediately like, I'm the best.
He then adopted the eating chocolate that other guys, so they're literally sitting there in the background. They're all just fucking housing like just like mounds of chocolate, and you're like, God damn it, dude.
Oh yeah, when they're watching the test, and he's like, don't underestimate the blue-haired turtle. By the way, more chocolate, please.
Dude, so funny. I want to see those two go at it at some point. Like, I want to see them fight, and I want to see what that big guy
they're gonna.
is capable
of.
They're
gonna.
Like, cause that guy was no pushover. I don't know. It was just funny. I'm also curious with like the power scaling as well, because it's like, I feel like your expectations keep on getting subverted, at least for me, where it's like I feel like I've established like, okay, I think this person right now is probably sitting pretty as like one of the top dogs, right? But then like all of a sudden you're watching, you're like, I don't really know. You know what I mean? Like at first I'm thinking like, okay, like I think Anak is up there, Kuhn, etc., Rack. And then then you get Rachel and her squad, and they're in the one cell during the crown game, and the one girl's acting all cocky, like, "Can I kill them all?" And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Are you gonna be that powerful? Or are you just talking out of your ass?" And,
the other princess.
Yeah, that and then but then all of a sudden
and
the one
Dorsey, I
chick
think her
in
name
like the latex suit with the crystals on her head is like kicking ass, dude, by herself, and I'm like, "Where did you come from? Where did you come from? I didn't even know you existed."
That's what I'm saying, dude. There's a lot of the side characters who I'm like, all right, you're one note, and then she leaps up and like drops 9 niggas. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Okay, you are not side fodder. You are here to stay.
Yeah, I feel like the term side
they just
character
come out of
is
nowhere
very,
and
like ambiguous in the show. It's like you think somebody's gonna be like, okay,
or
like
used
he
very
or
loosely.
she's clearly gonna lose because this person's meant to be more powerful. And then that's a prime example where it's like the one princess goes in with the high heels and it's like, I'm gonna kill them all, and then like handily kind of gets her ass whooped by just some rando in latex, and
Also,
I'm like, what?
Sweetheart, I love Dorsey, but like, girl, get yourself some new shoes. Them bitches have cost you 2 whole fucking fights now, and they're officially a liability at this point. We need to I don't understand how she was like, yeah, I taped it, it's fine. What? There's like fucking scotch tape on that bitch. If you don't just get a different pair of shoes.
Yeah, man. And I'm also curious to see Jihad, the guy who initially beat the tower and just has a flock of bitches at his disposal now that can't have kids, apparently, and the one chick broke those rules, hence Anak. But I'm curious, obviously, to see him or her or it, and like what his deal is, and like if he's really a bad guy or a good guy, and like like everyone's motivations,
or just more of that that because even that whole side, I guess story or setup, right, of the princesses of Jihad, and like what, because they're not all related, right? So it's like, who, like, I guess, who is it that this, like, what that selection process was like, and then like just learning more about like why I guess why that system is in place, right? Because arguably it's just a system of like, I don't know how many there are, but like let's say there's like 13 princesses, right? He's just kind of like picking random people to have this power, and then I'm assuming you either A, like kill them off and like give it to somebody else, because they can't reproduce, so they can't, like, because it would spread the power just throughout fucking infinite number of people. So it's like my when I heard when you're getting like Anak's backstory and you like sort of learn a little bit more about the whole princess like selection thing, the first question that was raised was like, why it's there, right? Like what is the purpose that it serves? And like they make a reference, like a metaphor of the princesses are like shoes, right? They're basically these really nice shoes that are sitting up on a shelf, but they're never to be touched or never to be worn. And so like in my mind, my first thought was like, okay, so is this nigga just strutting? Like he's just showing off the fact that he's got like these girls that are this powerful or whatever, but like what is the point if they're never going to actually like do anything, or like what is the end game? I don't know. But again, like another question that it raised where it's just like there's so much I want to, there's so much more that I want to know about this world.
And apparently I think Bam's true purpose is to go just knock up all of them against the rules, because literally all of them so far are like, yeah, he's pretty cute. You know what I mean? It's like, Bam, are you just going to hit it off with every princess of Jihad? Because
yeah, dude, the amount of times that this nigga has met a chick, or let's be honest, got in a situation and then relatively out of said scenario because they're like, nah, he's cute. I'm like, all right, here's the deal though, guys. Here's what we're doing with this. Like, we can't just have this be the Deus Ex Machina for Bam all the time. He can't just be this ear, because he's kind of mid. I'm just going to be honest, as far as the looking niggas in this show. Like if I had to pick one, I would probably say Kuhn. All right, that nigga is or the swordsman nigga. But it's like Bam, he's so mid. He's so average looking. He literally just looks like a farm boy, which like I just don't understand why that's like, because there's that scene with Anak, right, when after she takes the Black March. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck's up with this thing, but like it won't talk to me because I'm a woman. And then gives it to the dude in the tracksuit, and he's like, don't worry, I got you. And immediately gets zapped and fucking unconscious. And it's like that weapon, which is supposed to be one of the like part of the monthly series, right, of like weapons that is again like given to the princesses or comes from, I guess, either Jihad directly or there's some sort of, way that those go down or whatever. But, again, they have that weapon, which is weird initially in my mind because Yuri, one of the other princesses who's held in sort of unanimously high regard, was the owner of that weapon. And then in my mind, I'm like, so wait, she couldn't have used it then, though, because this weapon is like she kind of has like a strict thing where she's like, no, I only fuck with dudes and they've got to be cute. Otherwise, I'm literally not even talking to you. And you're like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Dude,
I don't know, but you're trying to say that farmer boys aren't cute as they yet?
That is exactly what I'm saying, Gavin, and that is the only thing I want people to take away from
I
this.
think there's like a niche thing where some people find that attractive,
Oh, okay, Ian. Yeah, thanks. Double down on you, fucker.
Dude, all I know is I saw a meme of Coon with his hair back, and some girl posted it, and she goes, Coon with his hair back be hitting different. And it's just like Coon with the man bun, bro.
Look, all I'm saying, bro, is he did that, and I did like a double take. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, okay. And it was like a split second, bro. There was a split second where like my body was thinking different things, and I'm like, who is that? And then I'm like, oh, okay, no, that's cool. That's cool, right? That's got to be cool.
Surprised he didn't keep his hair back
but I'm like
that the
it's
whole
not
time,
right.
But I don't know.
And then he like started rubbing up and laying on Bam basically, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What's happening here? Like, you can't be sending all these kinds of signals, bro. Before we was like, shaking hands and like we were fucking up niggas with knives and swords, and now you're like rolling up against me with your hair tied. What's happening? I don't know. I panicked. I panicked.
No, my pick definitely for looks though definitely has to be the chick in all latex with the fucking crystals on her face. Like, come on now, like, dude.
Oh yeah, she's a looker. She's a looker. Dude, you know how you know she's a looker because she literally only has half a face right now, and she still looks like a
I know, and her body.
You know what I mean? Like, girl literally lost an eye. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I'm still holding out for Yuri. That's just a fact. I need to see more of Yuri. We have been cheated. We have seen so little of this woman. She kicked Bam in the face in the first episode, and I want her to do that to me.
And the best is she kicked him in the face and they called him cute. So that's just like the best of both worlds.
Yep. Which is a dream. That's just all we're trying to do out here.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, I mean, I said all I got to say. I don't know if you guys have any closing thoughts, but if not, I mean, I figure we end it off now. Anything else you guys wanted to say before I sign it off?
I don't know. I mean, I guess. Well, I'm curious to know, what do you guys like? I don't know. I don't know if I'll say next episode specifically, or maybe just a couple of. But like, where do you think this is gonna go, and like, where do you want to see it go, or I guess, what are you most excited to learn about in the next episode? Hopefully.
Well, I kind of want to see what happens to I want to say, was his name Quaint Blitz, the redhead guy?
The one instructor guy?
Yeah, the first ranker.
Yeah, the instructor guy. Obviously they're gonna like reach the conclusion of that test, or that weird, like, what I'm talking about in the latest episode. Yeah. He has a very weird relationship amongst the rankers, and they hold him to a different regard. And I know, especially like, although he's my favorite character, fucking Lero Rowe.
Oh, the sleeping guy?
The horn guy.
No. He is the ranker. He has like the diamonds that are like tattooed on each cheek. The blonde hair.
Yeah, Overhaul.
Overhaul.
Yeah.
Literally, dude. Not that.
What?
Dude.
He's the voice Overhaul. We talked about this in the.
I know. But definitely, like, just the way he's the best voice actor, like, in this whole show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, every time that man talks, like, I literally just have an orgasm in my ears, dude. It's fucking amazing. Like, it is so satisfying
a very distinct
to listen
voice.
to.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I fucking love it. But obviously he got like the carpet fucking swept right under him in this test that we're currently in, because the higher up rankers like, hey, I think you're like pretty much hiding something from me, although he doesn't like say it, and he's like, I'm gonna throw this ranker in like to have him like kind of change things up a bit and maybe like do a little recon like work. At least that's like my take from it. So I'm interested to seeing what happens to this Quaint Blitz guy in terms of his relationship with Roe and honestly everybody else, because he kind of comes off as like almost like a lovable idiot in a way, but I don't know how lovable that transcends to in terms of the other rankers, because obviously a lot of them are more like stern.
Yeah, when he kills all the contestants, then I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know about lovable. Like, it is very interesting that there is such a drastic dynamic, I guess, in them, because when you meet him, I at least was under the impression, I'm like, all right, so these are like the stone cold teacher niggas who aren't really gonna fuck with anybody and like don't take shit from anyone. But it's not. They're clearly all like very different, at least personality wise, and like everybody's sort of on different, I guess, levels of like what they know versus like how far into the whole tower mechanic, how that works and stuff. But yeah, I would say just the rank relationships in general, like learning more about like them and what role they play and like who's really on whose side. Because after 8 episodes, I still don't know. I don't know like who really wants what and who's trying to kill who, and it's just
I don't know. All I do know is that Ro is going to be a G in these next later episodes. I have a feeling he might get killed for it. I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know.
Shit.
Damn.
Well, there you have it, folks. Those are our thoughts on Tower of God as far as the show is gone. Be expecting some weekly videos on this show. We're really excited to talk about it week by week. Let us know your thoughts. Do you like the show? Do you not? Where do you want the show to go? Don't spoil anything. Let us know your
If you don't,
let
out.
us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, the whole 9. But until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the flip. Peace.
Peace.
Hey folks, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our new episodes.
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AoA Podcast if you want to keep up with our content or suggest new ideas for the show.
You can watch us on YouTube or listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, or more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week to talk about all things anime.